How are you doing? I'm Martin from Gardens for Life. How are you doing? I'm Martin from Gardens for Life, and in this video I'm going to show you our new winter selection for 2024. We have some highly unusual insects showing up in our garden these days, and in this video I'm going to bring you on a tour, show you all the unusual plants. You can see the grapes are almost ready, and I made the same video this time last year, but this year we've got lots of interesting new plants, but also some of the old staples as well, like all of our tuberous vegetables, the ochre, the Mashua, the Jerusalem Artichoke, and Yacon are back. But also we've got lots of cuttings, willow, poplar, a ton of different herbaceous perennials. They're not only beautiful, but they're also useful in many ways as well, especially at attracting beneficial insects to feed all of the pollinators. This is one of our gardens here. This is what used to be the pizza garden, and you can see here we've got lots of Irish wildflowers growing here. These are actually marsh woundwort, and the bees absolutely love them. And the roots are edible. They're kind of like a mint root, but thicker. Take a look at those. Marsh woundwort, put it on your list. I think it's a great one to plant, and it's a bit weedy, you can see here. But the roots are edible, so that's handy, and they're kind of starchy. So we'll take a look down this way. Lemon balm going to seed. Look at this, flowering at the moment. Lemon balm is tremendously useful as antihistamine. Look at this. This is a horseradish plant, which is tremendously useful for its roots, of course, especially for clearing the lungs. It's kind of like a cold temperate climate wasabi. And this is just one plant, and that was planted here 2 years ago. So you can see it's absolutely huge. This is strawberry mint actually, and it really does smell like strawberries when you rub it. This is the red Russian kale. The great mullein plants are also available. Rhubarb. Look at this for production on a 2-year-old rhubarb plant. Have you ever seen anything like it? Probably 100 stalks in that. That is the Victoria, and this is the Glaskins perpetual. We find the Glaskins to be even more productive. I've already harvested from this one. But, I mean, take a look at this for production. And Glaskins perpetual can be harvested until the end of the growing season without any worries. Again, look at this marsh woundwort. It's beautiful. We have still got kale cuttings. They're always available, so you can get those straight away. If you're ordering anything from that says pre-sale on the ad, you are going to get everything you ordered shipped in November. So take a look at this Taunton Dean perennial kale. You just take cuttings and then you can actually grow it again. And it's a great source of greens in the winter time. The leaves stay fairly good quality during the winter, and it's a great source of greens especially for the chickens or for yourself. We like to feed our chickens fresh greens every day. Some dahlias, Might as well show them to you real quick. This is the flaming willow, and in the winter time this willow actually turns into sort of like flaming colours. It's yellow, orange and red. Bit of colour in the garden. These are feverfew. And this is Daubenton kale. It's a lovely variegated variety. Again, cuttings are always available. I'm sure we'll come across the American elder a few more times. Here it is, it's flowering now from mid-August until the end of the growing season, until the end of October. It's a lovely plant to have, and these are our fennel plants, the fennel patch. Look at this. So they make seeds and leaves that you can harvest and use for tea and cooking, and they attract a tremendous amount of beneficial insects. Here we are at the new garden. And look who is here with us. Whoa! So look at this. This garden here is full of wonderful plants. Here's some comfrey now. It's great. The leaves are great for making a compost tea, but also you can use it to make a salve as well. It's also known as bone knit. These are Jerusalem artichokes. They're actually a tuberous sunflower, and they produce a lot of tubers underground. They grow quite tall, maybe 2.50 meters or 8 feet tall, and they produce a flower at the very end of the season, depending on the variety. We have 5 different varieties of these, and they're very reliable at producing the tubers. It's a very interesting vegetable. I'd recommend taking a look at the more in-depth videos. A lot of the plants I'm going to show you we have full videos for, so I'll put some of those in the description below. So here we have jostaberry. They produce kind of like a black currant, but much larger, and they taste a little bit like pineapple. And I find them to be extremely vigorous. Definitely not as productive as a pure breed blackcurrant or red currant or gooseberry, but jostaberry is a great fruit to have because of its unique flavour. And we recently had some jam actually we got from some friends from Strokestown, and it was really nice. So here we have the beautiful curly willow. You can see just planting that jostaberry along the edge here and having some mashuas actually climbing up it as well, making it even more productive. Again, take a look at this. There's like an ocean of Tauntondine kale. Again, you can grow it from a cutting, which are available on our website. Does not go to seed, so it doesn't actually become weedy in the garden like some of the other varieties, although we don't mind if they do. This is a marshmallow flower. Look at that, it's beautiful, and the insects love it. And the leaves are actually really nice as well. They can be used in a tea for rough throat or dry throat. And they used to make marshmallows from the roots, imagine that. There's a salmonberry here, little North American raspberry, pink flowering. We have lots and lots of different raspberries available this year as well. We have some that fruit twice a year, so on the new wood and again on the same wood next year, because in early summer or midsummer the birds are usually stuck for food, so they eat all your raspberries. But if you have the kind of ones that fruit twice a year, primocane, they will produce a nice crop for you in autumn. We find raspberries are probably the most successful crop here in Ireland. Except for the mold, you got to be on top of the fruiting once it does, so you got to be picking the fruit every day actually, kind of like the strawberries as well. This is Japanese wineberry. It makes for a wonderful little fruit. Here's one. You see if I get a ripe one. Let's give this one a try. Very unique flavour. It's very different from a raspberry actually. Small little sticky sort of raspberries with an exotic flavour. It's a lovely plant and you can grow it from a cutting. This is the American elder, which is a really nice plant to have. And you might ask yourself, how is this plant different from our European elder? Well, the flowers actually are much nicer. They have a vanilla flavour, and look at the size of the bunches of flowers. Isn't it tremendous? Maybe that'll be the new thumbnail for this episode. And they also are flowering from midsummer until the end of October, so you're not stuck for elder flowers for the rest of the season. And they're every bit as medicinal as the European counterparts as well. And it looks really like it looks like a really nice shrub as well. Look at it. We have just a few of those available, but cuttings as well. So it'll grow from cuttings, quite successfully so. If you'd like to get a full tour of this garden, you can take a look at the link I put at the end of the video. So this here is oca, which is a tuberous oxalis. It's a really nice vegetable. And it produces kind of like small little potatoes underground. It's a very easy vegetable to grow, no natural pests and no blight issues. So it's a very resilient vegetable except for the frost. It does need to be kept frost free. You can let it go until the first frost and then let all of the leaves die back and harvest the tubers below the ground then at that point. One of our favourite vegetables actually of the winter time. Comes in many colours as well. It's amazing how much harvest you get from one oca as well. You can get 20 or 30 tubers from just the one plant. And they also grow really well in pots. So you can grow them in buckets, for example, same as potatoes. Another stunning example of the curly willow. Very nice tree, and I grew that from a cutting basically just 4 years ago. Another one does where the stem is probably about 4 inches or 10 centimeters in diameter now. Quick swoop of the new no-dig garden here. Again, I'll do a new video tour one of these days. You can see aronia berries here. And this is actually our shelter belt here. See the tall trees, those are willows mostly. And a few wild fruit trees mixed in as well. But they are quite beautiful and extremely productive. Take a look at this. Not only do they give us privacy and wind shelter, it's actually quite windy on the other side of this shelter belt, and I don't feel any wind on this side here. So you can see how much wood it produces. Great for kindling, the most expensive kind of firewood, as I always say. And it's also great for animal fodder as well, like rabbits or ruminants. They actually love eating the bark and the leaf as well. So if you want to coppice them, you can, or pollard them. We usually go from about hip height and cut them back to about that same height every year. And we get the wood to grow more trees. This is our new wood chip pile. Well, Levi, what do you think? Oh, what do you think? Yeah, all right. What do you think of the wood chips? Huh? Look, what do you think? When he sees a camera, he's just programmed to kiss it. Camera cleaning service. Look at this rhubarb here. Gotta show you that. It's Glaskin's Perpetual from about 3 years ago now. And it's tremendously productive. It's already been producing for several months now. And some of them have even gone to seed. And they're still producing leaves and stalks. So this one is actually safe to harvest until the end of the season. I've always got comfrey in between here. I'm going to harvest these leaves as well, and I'm going to dry them and use them for salves. And the flowers are tremendously beneficial for the local insect population as a nectar source. Here's one of our many varieties of buddleia. It's a lovely plant, and it's just finishing to flower now. But it was absolutely swarming with butterflies and other beneficial insects. This is motherwort, also a favourite food source for a lot of the insects here. This is the evening time, and we're going to get rain tonight. That's why the insects aren't out as much today. It's a bit of a grey day today. We're going to take a look at that garden too. That's the new no-dig garden. But first, let's go this way for a minute, because we'll see some of the perennials that we like to grow here. Again, a lot of these will be available on the website. This is Jacob's ladder. And look at that, it's producing seed, and it has actually self-seeded. Some little plants were growing here, so it is naturalizing in our gardens. These are the Egyptian walking onions, and you could eat the whole thing any time of year really. And you can see they produce these bulbs in the bottom, but also the green onion, the scallions. And we don't harvest these because we want them to produce these little bulblets, which actually drop on the ground. It's sort of tip layers, and it kind of fills in an area after a while. And this is the little bulblet you get, and you plant that, and this will turn into that in just 1 year. These have been planted here about July last year, and this is mid-August now. And look at the lovely feverfew over here in among the self-seeded currants, and some ochas as well, and a big jostaberry bush. We had a tremendous amount of jostaberries on this particular bush. Of course, the birds took the most of them. We don't mind. Here's a plum tree. But anyway, the Egyptian walking onions are definitely one of our favorites. And there's another aronia berry bush. I want to show you this Portuguese kale plant as well. It's gone a little bit curly, and it's been here for 4 years now, and it's still producing leaf, as you can see here. It's quite a substantial plant, and it also goes to seed every second year, sometimes every year, depends. We have a number of plants here. We have the wild raspberries in here, and flowering currants. Look how beautiful they are, and especially in autumn. They're still producing maple-like colours. Let's take a look. You want to have a look at the Jerusalem artichoke jungle. Probably the most productive plant here, or actually anywhere in the country. There's the Jerusalem artichoke. Again, it's a tuberous sunflower. It produces a little small sunflower, actually a cluster of sunflowers at the very end of the season, if you feed them well, and they produce a lot of tubers underground. This is the Egyptian mint. It's also known as round leaf mint. Very nice one. Let's go over this way. Look at the height of these stalks. Take a look at that. And again, I encourage you to watch the video of the harvest. You wouldn't believe the amount of tubers you can get from just one plant. It's a great standby food source to have. This is another variety, and these are some fruit trees. What you can see here, it is quite mysterious. Here's sea buckthorn as well, and more Japanese wineberries and American elders. We'll just walk over this way. Let's take a look at the no-dig garden. Here is the yacon. It's one of our favorite vegetables that can be eaten raw in the winter time. It's kind of like an apple, and you can make a lovely sweet syrup, even though there is sweet, but there's no sugar in it, so it's suitable for diabetics. Yacon is one of those 4 base tuber plants. This is Chinese rhubarb, which is also a medicinal plant. We got rhubarb stools available, and again here are the ochas and the comfrey. A few courgettes. We do throw in the odd vegetable as well. But look at this. The willows are growing really well. And this is the Mashua, look. It's a tuberous nasturtium, and you can eat the leaf as well. It's actually much milder than its nasturtium counterpart. It is, it's not spicy like the nasturtium leaves. Let's take a look over here. Again, look, isn't it beautiful, the Daubenton kale that I showed you earlier. It's lovely when you throw it in between. It's kind of like a flower. It's very ornamental. And here's an ocean of ocha and yacon, and a few Mashua is thrown in. We also have parsley and the valerian. Valerian is a very useful flower for the insects. It smells really nice as well, and it makes for a great tincture to help you sleep and relieve stress. This is the feverfew. Look at this. I planted 4 little seedlings here that were just self-seeded elsewhere, and look at the amount of flowers I'm getting here. It's unbelievable. Might actually harvest these and dry them for this year's crop. This is Portuguese kale. Now, anyone that orders with us gets a free packet of Portuguese kale seeds and great mullein seeds, and sometimes even different ones along with that. But look at the size of the leaves you get on the Portuguese kale. It's a very productive plant, and caterpillar damage is absolutely minimal because the plants are growing so fast. They're out competing the caterpillars in 10 seconds. It's perennial. It does go to seed though. You can also grow it from cuttings. We have cuttings and seed available. Here, look at the width of this leaf on Nero. Look at that. Isn't that tremendous? You know, I gotta be honest here, when I take the time to walk around the garden and actually look around, I get amazed at how much growth there is in it. I guess that's 4 to 6 inches of compost for you. Nature just wants to create an abundance for you if you give it a chance. And don't forget to plant what you want, otherwise nature will give you what you don't want. And that's wild plants, or aka weeds. So look at this though. There is not a weed in sight here. It's all canopy gardening. We have different varieties of rhubarb here, and again more valerian. We have marshmallow. Look at this. This is a number of plants here. There's about 10 plants in this little square meter here. And we have bronze fennel over there too, and more mashuas, some pumpkins. We might actually do some oshiki kuri Turk's turban mix of pumpkin seeds with all winter selection orders, along with the free packets of seeds we give everyone anyway, which is usually great mullein and Portuguese kale, just because they're 2 nice plants to have and they're so easy to start. And of course, multifunctional. Look at this wood mallow here. All right. Look, pumpkins. So you get a little tour in this video, but also I wanted to talk about the different types of plants that we've got with the winter selection this year. Don't forget, we've got 16 varieties of mint available as well. So banana mint, Moroccan mint, which is also known as mojito mint apparently actually. And we got chocolate mint, iced tea, Egyptian round leaf mint, apple mint, you name it, we've got it. Ginger mint is there too now. Let's take a look at this. This is actually, these are hybrid poplars, and this is actually just 2 years growth. You can see here, it's quite a substantial amount of wood it's producing already, and it has these lovely leaves as well. They're quite ornamental and they shelter the garden very well, just like the willows do. We'll just walk around this way and let's take a look. Oh yeah, before we go down that way, I want to show you some of the other varieties of elder we've got. We've got the hashberk, which is actually that big tall one right there, and it produces huge bunches of flowers and berries. It's a commercial variety. But before we show you that, I want to show you the black lace elder. Look at that, isn't that just beautiful? It's ornamental. We've got about 5 or 6 different varieties of elder now. And let me just show you here. All this is wood that it produced this year. We cut it back down to the ground. And look at that, the amount of wood and leaves it produces, and also flowers and berries as well. But I find the elderberries are a great addition in any hedgerow, not only to feed the birds and yourself, and also make tonics for the winter, for the flu season, but as well as the flowers in the summertime. You can make cordials and wines as well, and it makes for a great hedging plant. Look how dense it is. You wouldn't be able to look through that. That's just one tree as well. And here you can see a birch tree in comparison. And here's a walnut tree. And some of you might be saying, Jez, you might be thinking, sure, that's a lilopathic. What are you going to do with all these other plants around? I'm not worried about it for the first few years anyway, and the other plants will actually be well established by then. Almost forgot to show you our black currants. These are our own variety. It's Birdland black currant. They make a very large black currant and they're really sweet as well. And I've showed them to you in a few videos before. Take a look. You can reproduce them. You can grow them again from cuttings. And once you have our variety, I don't mind if you keep taking cuttings and sticking them in the ground, because that's currants for you. Same as the gooseberry as well. Got to show you the golden tower elder. It's a beautiful shrub. It produces a few flowers, not so many berries. But isn't it lovely? All right, there's a blueberry bush here. So let's go over this way and take a look. We've got kiwis as well. We've got hardy kiwis now. Especially the green ripening ones, because they can't be seen by the birds, or less likely to be seen. Here's one of them. It's a hardy kiwi plant. And of course the hardy kiwis are much smaller than the ones you're accustomed to in the shop, because they are the original kiwis and they taste much nicer than the big ones. It's another one of our willow arches here, but this time we didn't connect it at the top, just to see what it turns out like. And I like it open, because I wanted to show how tall the willow trees actually grow. And you can see it's about 5 or 6 meters. And this is 2 years growth, by the way. We have other videos about willows, and if you mulch them, they grow twice as fast. If you just put down cardboard or maybe even wood chips, if you stop the grasses from growing in between, after a while they'll actually shade out the grasses underneath almost completely after 3 or 4 years. Look at the amount of wood we have here. These are only 3 years old. Some of them are 2 years old, the trees. These are some elderberries that I grew from cuttings. They're only 3 years old. Hard to believe it. But look at the amount of wood here. And there's multiple stems as well. And they're producing berries already. Yeah. Elderberries, you gotta have the elderberries. I'm gonna be starting more forest gardens, and I'm gonna be planting elderberries, currants, all the wildflowers, and probably willow and poplar as well, because they're so easy to grow from cuttings and tremendously useful at breaking the wind. Take a look at the wind out here, and I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a wind muff on the microphone, so you can't hear the wind, but it is quite windy out here. But in the garden on the other side of the shelter belt, I didn't even notice it. Right, this is lovage while we're walking by. Well, lovage is a lovely plant. It's a herbaceous perennial. Very reliable at producing lovely leaves as well for stews. But look at this shelter belt here. And if you look in here, this is one of the poplars. And you can see how much wood it produces in just a matter of 2 years. This is this year's growth, by the way. All that up to there. And it's only a newly established tree as well. But even some of the willows here, they're not very old. They're only about 3 years old on this side here. And as we walk down this way, they get older, 4 to 5 years old. I want to show that to you in a second. Look at this. It's a beautiful curly willow, and all of the flowering currants. And again with the American elder. I love the American elder. We've also got white lilac as well, so we're going to grow more of those actually. This is the salmonberry. It's also blocking a lot of the wind as well. Some of our burgundy willow, the wood actually turns into a burgundy colour in the winter time. And they're lovely round leaves as well. Look at that, very unusual for a willow, I thought, at least in around Roscommon, where we are. A beautiful hazel. We don't have any hazels available to you guys yet, but hopefully in the coming years. And this is where the willows come into their own. We actually mulched these willows. So take a look at the willows and how dense it is in here. For all of you guys that are based on the west coast of Ireland especially, in windy places. Look at this. I mean, I can't ask for more shelter than that in a matter of 4 or 5 years. We did mulch them with cardboard, but no compost. There was some compost on either side because we made some no-dig garden beds. But take a look at this. Look at the amount of wood it produces. And every year we cut it back to here. You can see the cut marks here. But again, if you want to know more about the shelter belt, and if you want to know more about willows, please do watch the full video on it. I'll put the link below and at the end of this video. Willows are a tremendously useful plant because they also produce an awful lot of nectar for the insects in early spring. Probably one of the first insect or nectar sources for the insects, especially for beneficial insects such as the pollinators, of course, the bees namely, and other ones too. Caterpillars wouldn't be around yet at that stage. These are our raspberries. This is the raspberry jungle. And we had a lot of raspberries here. Take a look at this. This is our own variety actually. This is the Birdland raspberry. And it goes pink, of course. It'll go pink and then slightly red. Hang on, let me see if I can find one. Maybe I can find it. I find a ripe one. I think the birds have been very hungry. Yeah, the birds have been quite hungry. And we don't mind the birds eating them, as long as they leave us a few in autumn. There you go. Oh, I wish you could taste that. It's so good. But you can. You can just get the plants on our website and grow them in your own garden. And you'll have them forever. But be aware, raspberries can be quite weedy. Just plant them somewhere in the corner of a garden where you don't mind them taking over the place. But you're going to have fruit forever, basically. Anywhere we lived, we had a lot of raspberries left behind. And they're still growing even years later. So very beneficial plant for the insects and for the birds and for the people. That's why we call this a wildlife corridor, and we are a part of the wildlife. So we can go foraging there too. We get cuttings and berries and things like that. Just want to show you this. This is 1 year's growth on a hybrid poplar. It's actually 2 stems coming out of the one stick. And look at this. That's all that was planted in the bottom and into kind of deep grass here. It wasn't mulched, so it still did very well. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I'm just in the greenhouse here, and this is our salt bush. It's a really nice leaf vegetable, and I like to eat it raw, but you can use it like spinach as well. Actually tastes a little bit salty. Take a look at this. This is Madeira vine. It has lovely edible leaves. They're very thick leaves, kind of like spinach, and you can eat them raw or cook them. And it's a tuberous vegetable, so you can grow it again from tubers. We've also got goji as well, which goes to flower but not to fruit here in our greenhouse, but the leaves are very good for tea as well. We've also got some figs here. We've got a few different varieties of figs. Take a look at them. That one is almost ready. You know when they're soft, that's when they're ready. They're a lovely tree. They also smell nice in the summertime when it's really hot. And they look lovely. And you can grow those from cuttings. And folks, don't forget our alliums as well. Don't forget the orphrey and all the garlic that we've got, the elephant garlic and the Egyptian walking onions again. Very nice vegetables and very easy to keep and perennial, so you can leave them planted and just eat them whenever it suits you. If you'd ever like to come for a guided tour of our gardens here, take a look at our events page. We have those on once or twice a month and they're free of charge. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who are still here, I know it's been a long video and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the videos. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you'd like to grow some of the plants that we grow in our gardens here, take a look at our website and reserve yours now. You get 20% off for the month of August for our winter selection sale. It's a pre-sale, so you'll get your delivery in November when the plants are dormant and freshly harvested. And reserve yours now because they usually sell out every winter. If you want to get a delivery of potted plants, for example, or other plants that are available now, You don't have to wait until November to get them delivered. You can get those on our website now. Just look for plants that don't say pre-sale in the title on our website. If you got any plants in your order that say pre-sale in the title, we'll deliver all of your order in November. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to use your discount code for 20% off in August only. See you the next time. Bye bye.